Today, I'm talking about the charm from Pickleball Apes. The Charm is the latest release from Pickleball Apes, and it is their first all-foam paddle. It retails for $199.99, and using my code SSPBC will bring that down to $180. Pickleball Apes has made it a point to always come in doing something different. With the Energy series, they were the first to jump in with a Kevlar surface. With the Pulse line, they did a unique take on Generation 3 paddles with the carbon-wrapped tubes of foam with that distinctive purple surface. The Harmony series brought a unique 4 corners of thick EVA foam to its polypropylene core. So why would the Charm be any different? Let's get into the construction, and I'll use some imaging to go over the details. A very special thanks to my friends at Sulphur Spring Imaging for providing the X-ray and CT scans of the paddles. Okay, let's look at the construction of the Charm on X-ray here. And right away you can see these 4 large foam corners with an internal foam core. And if I zoom in on this, you can actually see where this core has been transected or cut about 25% of the depth in these horizontal fashions here, along here. Not all the way to the top and not all the way to the bottom. And you can see this kind of unique foam core that comes all the way out to the side here at 3 and 9 o'clock, but these foam corners. And if we measure these corners, you can see that from here up is roughly, almost 7 millimeters. And then from here over should be about the same, about 6 millimeters. So all in all, these are rather large foam corners, and the thickness, let's see, roughly 2.5 centimeters thick. So those are very thick corners of the foam there. Thicker than your traditional foam rings, but these are just on the corners. And like I said, you can see these lines here on the foam. And you can also tell that these are 2 different densities of foam. I believe this is EVA, and I think this is EPP, although it could be MPP. I'll have to double check my notes on that. And then if you look into the handle, you'll see that it looks like this foam comes down into the handle, although if you zoom in, this does look like it might be a little bit different density as it comes through here. But I think if I remember from the pictures, this is a single piece that comes down, and then they have these pallets on top of it that build up the handle. But what you'll notice, it's not polypropylene in the handle like many of these paddle makers are doing to save on weight. Okay, on CT imaging of the Charm here, I'm looking at the paddle in cross section. You can see here the handle is here and the paddle face is up here. And if I zoom in on this, you can see where these small indentions are, those small horizontal cuts through the paddle face are here. And so if we measure this, well, let's zoom in one more time, and then we'll measure this. You can see that the paddle itself is about 16 millimeters, and then these indentions aren't real big. If we measure those, you can see that they come in roughly about 2 millimeters here and on each side. So if you add those together, that's 4 millimeters, which is 25% of the paddle face. And so when Pickleball Apes advertise that these cuts have 25% of the paddle face, it means 2 millimeters on each side, which added together makes that. All right, let's zoom back out, and you can see as we scroll through here, you can see the handle, you can see the foam comes all the way into the handle here, and then these are the pallets on the outside and the butt cap around here. These are kind of staples. And then you can see the grip there. Okay, and the imaging here is similar to the X-ray, but I wanted you to show you here, you can clearly see these horizontal cuts in the core, And they do not extend out into the EVA foam out here on the outside, but you can see those cuts there as we look through the imaging of the paddle face. Alright, and then this is looking at the paddle coming up through the handle, and you can see the foam core in the middle of this handle here with the hard plastic pallets on the outside coming up through here. And then if we get into the body of the paddle itself, once again you can see these little 2mm indentions or these cuts in the core, but otherwise the foam paddle here, and you can see where the corner cuts out, there's slightly different density on that side. And up here I'm near the top of the paddle, you can see where the edge guard comes up here, and then the face sheets of course are here, and then this foam core, you can see that it's very uniform. No issues, no crumpling or flat spots or dead areas present here on this brand new Charm S paddle. I'll put the stats on the screen, but you can see they all come in with standard weights. You'll notice the X, the elongated shape, has a higher stock swing weight but respectable twist weight. The X also has a high stock balance point. They all have great handle lengths at the 5.5 inch mark. I preferred playing with the X and the V shape. The S shape played just fine, but I just wished it maximized its dimensions for the rule of 24. I weighted my X with 2 grams at 4 and 6, 1 overgrip, and 1 12-gram cap coin to give a tolerable swing weight of 125.1, twist weight 6.65, and balance point of 232, and this was my preferred setup. How does it play? Soft and buttery. Dwell for days. You'll notice right away there is not a hint of fiberglass in the layup. The cutouts that Ivan put into the core definitely do their job and allow the ball to sink in and dwell on the face. Spin feels good with that carbon Kevlar face sheet, but the spin is from dwell as the face is not super gritty. I put it in the all-cork category with this new wave of power paddles, but weighted up, you can hit the ball hard from the baseline and get serve speeds in the upper 50s. At the end of the day, this is a solid paddle. If you are someone that likes that buttery feel of the ball hitting the paddle, you are going to love the Charm. If you like stiff poppy paddles, this is probably not the right paddle for you. The Charm from Pickleball Apes. I hope you like this. If you did, do me a favor and give me a subscribe or a follow. Like this video, share it with your pickleball loving friends. Y'all take care. Peace.